Hi, Gray here with Serenity Financial Coaching. Today I want to talk to you about people. I don't even really want to talk about money. And really as a coach, that's what I get paid to do, is to work with people, not with money. You can find just about anything you want about money over the internet, over books. The hard part is doing it. And my whole working career, both before this as a nurse and as a coach, I worked with people. And not only did I work with people, but I worked with people in a crisis. And I have literally met, taken care of, and worked with thousands of people in a crisis. And I just want to share with you what I have learned about people over the years. And that is, don't count people out in a crisis. Don't underestimate them. When I was a nurse, I started out in the operating room, and I worked at a downtown cancer hospital. So some very sick patients, and I worked with a lot of people, and I wouldn't recognize all the people that I took care of, especially in the operating room, because they're asleep most of the time and draped. And one day I walked into a room to get my patient for surgery, and they just looked at me, and they looked at me kind of weird, as I was talking to them and introducing myself. And they said, they said to me, "You don't recognize us, do you?" And I said, "No, sorry, I don't." And they said, "What?" The person that wasn't having, the spouse that wasn't having surgery that day says, "You did my surgery a couple months ago." And they told me what surgeon and what surgery they had. And I did remember them at that point. And so I took care of them for cancer. And then now I'm here picking up the other spouse for surgery for cancer. Both spouses had cancer at the same time. It's our nightmare for one spouse to have cancer, and both of them, and the one that I was picking up for surgery that day had metastatic cancer for 10 years. That's defying lots of odds right there. That's some real superhuman stuff right there. I've worked on a psych unit, everyday people, professors, lawyers, doctors, to the homeless, the whole range of what society has. Dealing with trauma from combat, church leaders, people in your church that are still suffering from combat from when they were 18 years old. I've worked with people that were kidnapped, victims of violent crime, deaths of loved ones, and it's tough. They're in a psychiatric unit because they need a little bit of help, but then they go back in the world, and you'll never know they were there because they're not going to tell you that. You would just think they're normal people, and that's because they are. 80% of the population has suffered a clinical trauma. 20% to 45% of nurses meet the clinical definition of PTSD. To be human is to undergo hardship. And the reality is we're really resilient. That's what I've learned about people over the years, is we're resilient. Everyone thinks when something like this happens, everyone thinks normal is gone. And that's true. Normal as it was is gone. But humans have always lived in a normal time. It will become a new normal, but new normal is still normal to humans. The mind is extremely resilient. As a coach, we've met some amazing people, and unfortunately, the hard part of being a coach is we're always dealing with people in a crisis. 95% of the time, and we've seen single moms that are struggling go to thriving. Unfortunately, on more than one occasion, we've had single moms again, and they'll come to us and they say, my first priority is I need to save $10,000 or $5,000, whatever it is. And then we usually say, well, that's not how the process works. They say, no, you don't understand. I need $10,000 because my ex-husband is violent and I need money to run away quick if I need to. As a coach, we're not going to argue with that. But yet they go about living their everyday lives and you don't know that that's what they go through in a secret. My point is that I hear a lot of people saying people are so weak these days, and I agree. I think all the comforts of the world have made us complacent, and when these things happen, it's quite a bit more shocking. But I've worked with thousands of people. That should count for something, and I can promise you, people have not gotten any weaker throughout history. Our brains are resilient. It's the most resilient organ in your body. The liver can only take so much injury before it's permanently damaged. But yet our brains take insults every day, from bosses that do not like you, to children throwing fits, to 80% of people suffering a trauma. And this is definitely an attack on our mind, an attack on our brain. And for some people, losing jobs or sick with the virus, it will be a trauma. But minds, especially with proper treatment, like therapy, support, are extremely resilient. So don't ever count people out. Don't think that we have become weak beings. It's in our mind, it's in our DNA to adapt, overcome, and survive. And it really is in our spirit as well. The Bible says we're made in the reflection of God. And it tells us our God is a mighty warrior. And I have seen many warriors, many fighters, many bulldogs of all types of paths in life, from single moms to police officers, firefighters that we worked with, nurses to accountants to the most unlikely people. Everyone has a fighter inside of them. So don't think for a second we won't get through this. Don't think for a second of all the things that have happened in history, coronavirus is going to be the thing that causes us doom. There will always be a new normal. Doesn't mean that this doesn't mean this isn't difficult. I know it's not easy. And I know we have a lot of clients right now, job loss, uncertainty. And I want you to know that we are here for you, that we are fighters, and we give you our best during this time. Our phones are on, got it right here. It's not silent, and I will answer it anytime anyone calls and needs us. We're here for you. We're here for our clients. If you're not a client, we're here for you too. Don't hesitate to reach out. Don't count yourself out, and don't count other people out. In the meantime, continue to imagine, believe, succeed. Take care, my friends.